So this is how I get a Rockstar appointment setter for just $20. I come up with this system that will allow you to consistently attract A player, therefore providing A+ level service to your client. I want to show you how to recruit, hire, and attract the best talent for your agency at a very reasonable rate. So the one thing that you guys have to understand is that if you are a service-based agency, that means you're offering service such as Facebook ad or really any type of consulting services, you need to understand that great service come from great talent, and great talent come from great hiring system, right? So that's why in this module, we're going to be covering hiring strategy, hiring process, hiring platform, scripts and format. So an actual case study that we use this system to hiring a Rockstar appointment setter for just $20 US. And this is all start from a story back in 2022 when we were just gearing up to scale our agency, right? We know we had to hire a Rockstar appointment setter, and we had hired appointment setter before, but none of them were really that great. I'm sure you know what I mean. They're really just average people. And at the time, we have a friend who were running a recruiting agency, and because he's my friend, without doing a lot of due diligence, I just paid him $1,500 US to place an appointment setter. And this is not including their salary. You have to pay the appointment setter salary separately, right? And only to end up having a candidate, in my opinion, even worse than the previous one that we just hired. And I was really shocked, and I really asked him, how do you get these people for me to interview? And he just showed me a bunch of WhatsApp message that he sent out to all his network. I was very disappointed, and I feel like I got scammed in a way. This actually take me to a journey to realize that we need our own candidate generation system, just like lead generation system in a business. It really is a must. It's as important, if not more important, than a lead generation system in your business. Okay, and by getting scammed $1,500, it really take me to this journey. So hopefully I can emphasize the importance of candidate generation system to you guys without you guys having to lose this much money yourself. Okay, so I have a very simple graph here. You can see here we have lead generation system on the top and candidate generation system on the bottom, right? So for the lead generation, you have a simple flow, which I'm sure you're aware of. You have the ad, the lead capture form, which is the questionnaire when it comes to lead form or funnel or survey here. We ask them a bunch of questions, and once they fill out that form, we classify them as a lead, okay? And then we lead them to a thank you page, and then if they respond or reply or book a call, we classify them as a hot lead. Very simple, okay? So when it comes to candidate generation system, very, very similar, right? So you have an ad right here, and you have an assessment for questionnaire, right? Very similar. So we ask them question to qualify their skill set to make sure that they actually know what they're talking about. This is very depend on each role. Each role are different. We're going to show you like what that means in a sec. But once they fill out that assessment, they officially classify as a candidate, and then we lead them to a thank you page, which have our company site, right? So that they can learn more about our company. It could be a YouTube page or a Facebook page or an Instagram page. And then once we review their assessment, right, which is the answer that they fill out, and if we like that assessment, we consider them as a hot candidate, right? We consider them as a past assessment stage, right? So let's walk you guys through all the steps one by one, starting from the ad level, right? So when it comes to the ad, what I meant by that is the job ad or the job post itself, right? We normally post it on different platforms. Some work better for us, but again, this is depending on countries and roles and really what popular when it comes to like the freelancer in that country. First of all, you can run Meta ad. You can run Facebook ad to get talent, right? We like to target expat living in countries that could be Vietnam, Bali, Thailand, and Mexico. So all this popular country that, all the US, UK, Australian expat are moving toward. The reason why you want to do that, guys, because they are native English speaker, right? And you get to pay them at a very reasonable rate compared to the people who living back in the country. For example, you have a UK expat living in Bali. You can actually offer him or her a competitive rate in Bali market rate, right? Not in the UK. So that's what I mean. Like getting expat is a great deal, right? When it comes to talents in exchange for the money that you pay. LinkedIn is one of them, right? You can find lots of expats on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Premium, I think it's 700 something a year. Not too bad. Very professional, very high-end talent here on LinkedIn. Really mixed bag when it comes to Facebook groups. We'll get most of our stuff from Facebook groups as well. You want to go into the search bar and search this following keyword, which is virtual assistant or job in XYZ. That could be job in Manila, job in New York City, right? Really, you want to place a location here or a city here in the XYZ. The other keyword is stay-home mom's jobs or work from home, right? So those are amazing keywords. Just search in there and then join all the following groups. You want to treat it like a lead generation process. You want to know what your ideal avatar is. Go into the place where they hang out. So the next platform is OnlineJobs.ph. Now I'm sure you heard of this. It's one of the biggest, job site in the Philippines, and Philippines have amazing talent when it comes to, BPO outsourcings and all that stuff. As part of the Elite network, if you're part of our Elite and you're watching this right now, you can get one free placement from being a part of our Elite because we have a special partnership with OnlineJobs.ph. Other than that, you have sites like Fiverr, Upwork, and Indeed, right? This is more like freelancing site. So what I do with that site is to post a small projects or small tasks and to get me a connection with a high talent freelancer, see how they perform and execute the task. If I like the project and I like the end result, I will message them, say, hey, let's get off the platform and have a employment agreement with each other. And most of them, depending on how you phrase it and how you offer it, most of them will likely say yes, right? So it's really a good way to actually test people first by, offering like $60 or $120 projects and to see how they work for us. These are great sites for that. Now, when it comes to the scripts and format, right, this is how you write the job ad, right? There's actually certain structure, and I'm going to show you some example here. First of all, you want to make sure that the headline or, somewhere on the top of the job post have salary and compensation. That's usually the main attraction for job posts, right? Now, obviously, there's got to be some context here. If you're hiring for CFO or COO, or you're hiring for like a business partner, the salary and compensation not that important. It's all about mission. And if you're looking for a freelancer for a part-time position, consider stating, the rate on an hour basis, right? If you're paying people like 400 or 600 a month, which is not a lot, you want to emphasize the rate, right? And you want to put it in a range, right? Which have a upper and lower range rather than a fixed price, to attract wider audience. Like, let's say if you have a budget of 600 to have someone part-time doing graphic design, right? Just an example, right? Instead of putting 600 a month, you can put $15 to $40 an hour. It will make your job ad appear to a wider audience, and it would make your job ad look a lot better. But if you're looking for a full-time position, right, put a monthly salary in there. We're gonna be using the same range, have a lower range and an upper range to attract wider audience, right? Just make sure that the range is not too big. You don't want to put like $10 to like $1,000. That's just way too big. Make sure that they are around like 2x apart from each other, right? So 600 and 1200 is around like 2x. That's what I mean. And when it comes to compensation, you want to offer other value than just money, right? So something like hands-on training, flexible hour, sneak peek behind like a 20K per month agency, family insurance, and holiday pay. So that's what I mean by when people are looking for work, they actually looking for a lot more than just money. Of course, like obviously money is very important, but they're looking for security. So insurance is one of them. You really need to think about all of the stuff that you can offer them. It could be your trait, your personality, right? The value that you bring in, moving into helping them with their career pathway. So that could be massive value when it comes to attracting younger talent. Okay. For sales role, you want to use OTE, which stands for on target earning, right? And you want to map out a realistic OTE in a table. Instead of putting a fixed salary, you can put OTE and give it a range. When it comes to the description, right? It should not be hard, because when you're hiring people, guys, your business, like you're hiring from pain, right? You need to understand this. Like something in your business is very painful and you need someone to come in and replace that pain. So it should not be hard to write a description. It's literally just describing your pain, right? If you have a really sore arm and you go to a doctor, right, you don't need to like write an essay about your sore arm. You can like describe that on the top of your head quite clearly on what that pain look like, Okay, so here are some of the questions that are going to help you. Why are you hiring for this role, right? What tasks and pain are you trying to take away from your agency? You can use ChatGPT to help you write a baseline role. So for example, if I'm hiring for a graphic designer, I just use ChatGPT to say, I'm hiring for a graphic designer, write me a role description. And I really just work from there. I just copy and paste and work from a role baseline given by ChatGPT, right? You also can include a loom for a job description. We like to do that. So instead of like writing a lot, we can have a 7-minute loom that explain what's the job, what we expect from them, and what they be doing every day. So we actually have a high performance job post in a form of loom. If you are part of our lead, we'll show you what that look like. So we have a loom that been watched for hundreds and hundreds of times. That's how we know it was very high performance, right? And so this is some of the example job posts, being structured when it comes to hiring appointment setter. And you can see here we have hundreds and hundreds of comments. Like this one actually read 200 comments on Facebook. Very lucrative when you know how to structure your job post and your job ad correctly. When it comes to sales role, you want to map something like this, okay? So you want to have a base salary, and then you want to have commission and bonus and structure that when you explain to people, when you say OTE, on target earning, let's say on target earning is 5K to 7K, people want to see how you make that claim. How you gonna be getting them OTE of 5K, 7K, 10K, or even 20K. You want to break the number down so that they can understand the math behind it. So when it comes to a sales role, we normally have base like this, and then if they reach a certain like benchmark, we'll give them bonus. And for each sale, depending on the payment, if they get PP, which stands for payment plan, PIF, which stands for pay in full, stuff like that, they will get different commission based on all that, right? If you are part of our lead, we're actually giving you this exact template, and we'll actually guide you onto how to structure your perfect OTE when it comes to hiring appointment setter and closer, right? So make sure you check the lead out, okay? So when it comes to assessment, right, this is very important. If you can do this really well, it can save you so much time with the interview process, because you only interview people who actually pass the assessment, which is the qualification part, right? It is your responsibility to design an assessment to evaluate the candidate talent and filter out the 95%, right? So you want to be only talking to like the 5%, like the top 5% who apply into your hiring funnel, okay? So we have an example here, building out an assessment. If you have a pain in your business right now, you just have to translate that into a question so that they can answer it. For example, right, we have a Google Docs right here. This is for our editor assessment. So this is hiring for a video editor. Just ask them, hey, could you edit this video? And this is just like raw video for like 1 minute. Obviously, we can't ask them to edit like the whole video. That's just like, no one would do that, right? We just say, pick 1 minute part. It doesn't have to be, the first minute. Just pick any 1 minute and give me an edit and make a thumbnail. What would this video title? When I designed this, I feel like if I bring this person on, what would I ask him to do? I would ask him to edit a video. I would ask him to design a thumbnail. I would ask him to make a title for this video. So I literally just ask them right then and there to see how they answer, and people will give you different answer. And then based on that answer, you actually know immediately who will be a good candidate for this role. So this is why it's very important to have the right assessment and the right question in place, right? And for the GHL tech role, we're giving you 2 examples for 2 roles. So hopefully you get the hang of it by now, right? So for the GHL role, high level automation role, we ask if an automation break in GHL, right, in high level, how do you go about fixing it? Explain your thought process, right? And I also put, please answer in blue bold text. Now I want to see if they have the capacity to answer this technical question, but at the same time follow simple instruction. If someone like come in here and then they didn't follow me, they didn't give me a blue bold answer, they just failed to follow simple instruction right there. Doesn't matter how good the answer is, they just can't follow instruction. And a lot of application that I received, guy, we got a lot of people answering in blue bold text. So it was very common. We asked them, school community, how do you increase the engagement? So it's really the current problem I have right now when I was writing it. Like, I have a problem and I need someone to fix it. You just need to translate that to a question, right? Also, you can use a loom. Like if it's so complicated, you can't write in a form of word, you can just shoot a loom video. Hey, this is my problem. Shoot me back a loom video as an answer to fix this problem. You could just do that, right? For appointment setter role, we don't do the whole assessment. We do things different when it comes to sales. So that's why I want to give you a couple of different examples here. We ask them to send call recording and voice note. So we want to hear what they sound like. So with the sales role and appointment setter and closer, it's more important on how they sound rather than doing assessment like this. We also want to make sure like this person, whether they sound nice or not, they're able to follow simple instructions. So we normally include a keyword in the job post. That's very important, right? Because people who can't follow instruction, you're going to have a hard time training them. And that's going to make you burn out very, very quickly and hate recruiting people, right? You don't want to do that. So in this job post, we ask them to send us a voice note on Facebook. So very quick voice note. The keyword is aggressive dollar. You can see on the second photo here, it says aggressive dollar. But as you can see, not everyone send me that keyword. Like this person sent me a voice note without the keyword. So I'm just gonna ignore her voice note. Okay, I'm not gonna listen to it because if you don't give me the keyword, that means you can't follow instruction. You're gonna get a lot of people sending you a bunch of message, and it's gonna be like a whole job itself try to filter out. That's why you can actually outsource this to a person, right? Remember, I have my assistant here say, hey, Sophia, this is Lam Vico assistant. I'm directing the traffic to someone else Facebook account or someone else page. You want to have someone out look for that and then listen to the voice note and look for the accent. So like this is a full-time job itself, right? If you get a lot of DM and a lot of message like us, you know, having hundreds of comments on Facebook. So just remember, you can outsource it. If you're watching this, I would highly recommend when you hire your first appointment setter, don't outsource it. You need to listen to understand what is good and what is bad. So when it comes to assessment submission, right, how do you actually get the form, right? We're going to show you how to do that in the technical side when it comes to high level, but we pretty much have a high level form. So as you can see here, this is our assessment. We have a form link right here at the bottom of the assessment. So when they answering all of this question, they would click on this link. And this link will lead them to a GoHighLevel form. And we have a very long form, like very long questionnaire form, which is going to be part of the snapshot anyway. So when you set up this recruiting snapshot, this form will be inside. And the only automation we did is sending a submission to this form into Slack, right? So when someone submits a form, we will get notified in Slack, right? And this form, you obviously don't have to copy all of the questions. You just come in and remove or add any question that you want. What's important is the Loom introduction. We want the candidate to record a Loom video of themselves or even a Google Drive video of themselves. We want to see how they behave in front of the camera, get to know their accent, their workspace as well. We want to see the background. If the workspace is like messy or they have a proper workspace behind them. We want to see their personality if they can speak freely, right? And again, this is depending on each role, but you get so much insight from this. So make sure that you guys include this. This is very important. Obviously, name, phone number, basic information. Country, very important as well. City, where do you hear about this job? Again, we're posting on different platforms, like I mentioned. So you want to know what platform generate the most applicants. That could be a good thing to know. And we also have this code word, right? Remember, we have a code word to see if people can follow instruction. And the one thing about code word is that you could just use one form, right? When I was starting out, I was using multiple form for multiple role, right? We have one form for video editor. We have one form for appointment setter. But I was like, you don't need that, right? You could just including the keyword here on the assessment, right? For example, if someone fill this out and they fill out the form, they would put the code word GHL admin. So we know that this person come from the GHL post and they applying for GHL position, right? Obviously, you can have any code word you want, but you can just use one form for all of the role and just have different code word for all of the role, right? And that's how I recognize if someone come from what platform and applying for what role. Previous experience, you know, important as well. Describe your current commitment. I always look out for people who actually currently employed with another agency, because if they currently employ, why are they looking to leave? You need to really have that honest conversation with them, because here's the thing, if they have this personality of like a ship hopper, they're going to come in, you're going to train them, invest time into them, and then the next thing they would see another opportunity, they're going to leave you, right? There's no loyalty in place. You need to have an honest conversation. It's like, why are you looking for a new job when you have work already? And if you don't like your workspace, you have a disagreement with your boss, have you have an honest conversation with your boss, and then ask for a reference and ring their boss, right? So like if you spend all this time hiring and recruiting, And to train somebody, which again take even more time, and to have them leave in like 6 months, your company would never grow. You want to have long-term employee. And now this is what I learned from my mentor. Very, very important, right? You want to set a proposed rate and a minimum rate, right? Again, like you want to see the range from their end, from their perspective, right? And it will give you so much negotiation power if you know ahead of time before the interview their range. You're like, this guy was expecting this much. So when I come in, this is how I'm gonna negotiate, right? So this is very, very useful. This is the one trick that I know is that have you go into my Facebook page and like my most recent post, right? So actually I can get free follower and free like on my Facebook page from just having this question on. And if you want to promote a Facebook group, you can do that also. We want to be clear with the candidate that we only reach out on one platform. Right now for us, it's WhatsApp. You don't have to. You can do Discord or Facebook or whatever, or email. But what I say is that, do you have WhatsApp connected to the number above and promise to be responsive on WhatsApp? So they have to click yes to it, right? And if they do not have WhatsApp, they will learn how to create a WhatsApp account, right? We have a social media link. Again, depending on what role, it's not necessary. How well you know GoHighLevel. Again, like not necessary if you don't do anything with HighLevel, right? Our business is around HighLevel, so we need people to know HighLevel, even if they don't work as a tech support. Even a video editor come in, it would be beneficial for them to know HighLevel already, right? And then extra comments, this is like optional if they have anything they want to say extra that we haven't asked. And obviously assessment submission, right? So when they come in here, they would share the link, right? And put the link of the assessment right here into the form so that we can review their profile and their assessment at the same time, right? In just one Slack notification, we can review both. And I even say, I understand that without an assessment, I am just wasting everyone's time, including my own time, right? So if anyone just filling out this form without going through the assessment, I will not even consider them. I would straight up delete their form entry. That's why the assessment is so important, guy. Again, this is depend on different company, different role. I used to do this. If you don't have any assessment, you could just send everyone a Zoom invite and a Zoom event so you can meet them on Zoom. And this is great for like sales role, like appointment setter, closer role, where you need to meet people face to face and you want to hear how they sound, you want to hear how they behave behind camera. When it comes to assessment review, hiring is a skill because good and bad is very subjective, right? You don't know what's good and you don't know what's bad, like until you get burned or you get someone really good and then you know, oh, this guy's really good. The only way to truly identify best candidate is through plenty of hiring and firing. So I have done that a lot myself. You talk to many agency owner who scale up to 7-figure or multiple 6-figure, the amount of hiring and firing that they do is on the 100 marks, right? So this is just come with time. And just don't be sad and don't be upset that you wouldn't get the right hire straight away, right? And when it comes to making an offer, right, always make multiple offer to multiple candidate. You want to pick like top 5 to increase your chance of hiring the Rockstar, right? Again, I assume you have more than multiple applications, right? You review and pick the top 5 applicant assessment that you like and make them an offer, okay? So this is what the workflow, right? So when they pass the assessment, what you want to do is reach out to them and have like a 10-minute interview, right? To see and feel them in person, right? And you want to offer a trial, right? A trial is like a one-off project or like a 14-day thing or a 7-day thing or 3-day thing. Could be very short, but it's go as long as 14 days. And then after they finish the trial, you want to do a probation period and then you want to do a signed contract. Probation period is normally, 2 to 3 months. So once they sign a contract, guy, they officially become your employee and it's going to be long term, right? When it comes to the trial, it's normally, like I said, something quick, easy, cheap to see how the candidate execute on stuff. And because it's quick and easy, you can offer that to multiple candidates, right? To increase your likelihood of hiring the right one. And this will be vary by role. You have to design a trial. That's your job as a CEO. For example, for video editor, we ask them to edit 1 minute of raw file, right? And we don't pay for it. It's literally in the assessment. We'll give them the video and everyone just like happy to edit a 1 minute video. For the appointment setter, we ask them to call 100 contacts. We actually pay appointment setter to do that. Avoid assigning tasks that require too much access, like granting admin right to your high-level account or Meta Business Manager. Like, you don't want to give them a task that you require to put them into a position that can jeopardize your company's security, right? Because these people, you just met them, you just interviewed them, you don't know them yet. Don't do like high risk state, That's what I'm trying to say. We also do not provide any hard contract for the trial. You can provide a contract. Now it's so easy with ChatGPT. For a trial, which is like write an agreement on Facebook or WhatsApp and ask them to reply yes as an agreement and screenshot that reply. Okay. For example, right? With this candidate, we actually outline the whole trial, right? This is the trial, this is the expectation, and this is how much we pay. Please reply yes. And he replied yes with his PayPal email, and we screenshot that. That's literally our way of contracts, right? You don't need an official contract, just that is fine. If you look into it, guys, contracts is an agreement, whether it's verbal, written, that's classified as contracts, and you could just do it on WhatsApp or Facebook, right? So it's very quick and easy. You don't want to overcomplicating the process, right? When it comes to offer a trial, you want to offer a fair price for projects. You don't want to offer too cheap, otherwise they will think your company is non-legit, stuff like that. And you want to pay a percentage upfront, especially for heavy workload, right? And you want to be using PayPal by protection, right? Bank transfer, once it's done, right? PayPal is always have room to wiggle, right? And you want to set clear expectation. Only the winner will get full payment. So when it comes to offering a trial, right, you would have, a project that you want to put $200 in for whoever that can do it, right? But you need to be clear that only one person will get the $200, right? So the people that do the projects, they have a possibility of not getting paid, but we're going to pay them like some upfront payment just for participate, right? That's how we do it. It really is very flexible that you can design the trial and design the offer however you like. So yeah, you don't have to pay upfront, but by doing so, you will increase trust between the candidate and your company. And you want to make a trial that make the candidate compete against each other. For example, for the appointment setter, we have 5 people calling the same list, and whoever booked the most appointment win. Like really, it's that simple, right? They would just fight each other off, right? And the red flag is that you want to look for candidate who demand a lot upfront. If you say this project is $200, I will pay everyone $50 upfront, and we have one candidate who won $100 instead of $50, that's a red flag. If you have candidate who want an upfront payment in the form of crypto or coins, just run away. Just don't even talk to those people. It's even worse than bank transfer. Crypto and coins, once the transfer is made, it's gone. Like you can never ever recover it. So if anyone asks for that upfront, just leave them alone, okay? So when it comes to offering script, the full script that I screenshot above, you can copy and paste it or remodel it or use it as a bench. I said, hey, congrats, you just passed the test. Please confirm yes if you watch this video and understand everything. We have a full loom when it comes to getting people to the trial. The trial is project based. It's involved reaching out to all of our clients with feedback notes and all that stuff. So pretty much just calling lead. Here's his 3 requirement: feedback note, call recording from all of the client. Even if one requirement is missing, the project's deemed incomplete. So we need 3 things to make sure like they call everyone. The project is 120, right? You can spend 10 hours or 100 hours. It's entirely up to you. We just have a list for them to call. Once they finish, just tell me that you finished. The list is approximate 20 people. So this is very small list. I was very, very generous with 120 as a price. I actually pay everyone $20 for participate, right? Because I know that only the winner will get the full amount. So this is how I get a Rockstar appointment setter for just $20, right? And once you actually see like the Rockstar coming up, you just pay them like 120, right? And your cost of acquiring this candidate is like 120, which is really cheap. Just to contrast, I paid somebody like 1,500 to place an appointment setter that doesn't work for my agency. If they want to take on this project, just reply yes with the full name and email address to accept this term. If we actually screenshot this, this is kind of like a contract itself, but it's term of condition or participate in this trial, right? For the probation period, once you find your rockstar, you should have 5 people attending the trial, fighting off each other, and then you clearly should see the winner. The winner would just like the one that popped out from the 5 people, or even 3 people is a good number. So for the probation, guys, it normally lasts from 14 to 90 days, depending on, again, role and the agreement between you and the candidate, right? You can choose to have a contract signed during this probation period, but we don't have contracts during probation. We only have contract for full-time employment, right? And you want to set clear expectation and clear KPI for the next 14 to 90 days, which is the probation period, right? It's very black and white. I even giving you an example here. For example, this role, when someone come in and be a probation for this role, I would just sit down with them and explain, hey, this is the role that you have to attend, and this is the description of this role and this responsibility, right? It's very black and white. It's either yes or no, right? So by the end of the probation period, we're going to come together and we're going to mark this as yes or no. Okay, you could have as many as little. The probation period is where you actually compensate them as well. So you would pay them salary like if you were paying your employee, right? They're not going to be working for free. Like, don't ask people to work for you for free. And this sheet is an example already. You just have a couple of key role, key tasks, and just say yes or no, right? Video editing. Can this guy video edit it? Yes. Right now he can't do this yet, but at the end of the probation period we'll hope that he can do it, and if he can do it, we can negotiate based on how much he can do, right? When it comes to employment, guys, you want to make sure like your contract is very official. It's not have spelling error or anything like that. It have proper logo, it have proper business number. You want to make it official, right? You want to have clear term and condition. Like right now it's really easy with ChatGPT, right? You want to have clause that saying if you do this and you violate the term, here's the consequences. And if you hit this bonus and this KPI, here are the compensation. Like you want to have clear term written out when it comes to those things, right? Very important. So if you want our full contracts, our lead will get access to all of our employment contracts. We will show you how to set automations and all that stuff when it comes to contracts as well. So we use HighLevel as a contract signing tool for now because why not, right? You can use it for free. It worked quite well for us. So this is this lesson. And if you have any other questions, reach out to me. Hopefully you like it. And hopefully you set up a system that will allow you to consistently attract A player, therefore providing A+ level service to your client. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one. Hey guys, in this video, I want to show you our interview and assessment review process. And we're going to be using our ChatGPT friend to help us make sure that we filter out and making notes on all of the good, bad, and intermediate candidate out there. So first of all, we just zap everyone into a spreadsheet, right? So when someone fill in the assessment submission form, we'll put a notification to Slack channel and we'll zap a part of the information into each row of the sheet, right? So this is what it looked like. I normally like to keep my process very simple. I like to use the color code yellow, green, and red. So red is people that I look at the assessment and I didn't like the answer and I'm not going to be like interview these people, save heaps of time. That's the whole point of the assessment. And then I mark somebody yellow. I might want to revisit them again in the future for another job role, but probably not for this role. And green is the right fit for this role, right? Obviously you can have your own color code and you can allocate your own meaning to it, right? So the green is the people that I'll reach out and interview. So we have so much filter in place. So just to recap, we have the job ad, right? And a lot of people will apply. And then we have the assessments, which filter down people. And then we have the reviewer process, which even filter down even more people. So you should only be interview a handful of people, definitely not everyone. And that's the whole point of saving time by having the right hiring system in place, right? So this is the interview structure that I like to have. Again, feel free to adjust to your liking. I like to keep everything short, 10 to 20 minutes. And I normally ask people their family structure, whether they're single, they have to look after their elderly parent, or they have a baby. That is like important to know, because over time you find trends or pattern in terms of what kind of people will work best with your personality and your company culture, right? So if you're a company and you're looking to have someone that gonna be very responsive, hiring someone with a small baby probably not gonna fit that description, right? And if you're hiring for a role that looking for hungry sales young people like 18 19 years old, so you'd be looking at like someone who's single, who doesn't have anything going on except for focused, career driven, like all about making money, right? So family structure does play a big role. And I'm not saying that anyone who have a baby would be a bad candidate. In fact, most of the loyal employee that I have is all, newly wed mother and father, right? Because they have a baby on board, they just want that job security and they're willing to work hard for the future of their kid. So it's really depend on what culture you have and what personality you want to pursue. right? So family structure does play a big role, and it's a important question to ask in the interview. Now, the workspace setup, you want to be asking about backup electricity, backup internet, really depending on their area as well, especially people from Asia. They have monsoon season where, there's a lot of flooding, lots of storm. You need to ask them if that happened frequently in their area and if they do have a backup for it. And what happened to the last employment and client, right? So I always want to know, like, what happened there, right? Just like listen to the story, see if it makes sense. And some people are very open. They would give you phone number and contact information of their last boss that you can contact to verify the information, right? You want to ask general question on the skill set that you look for, right? Again, this is very dependent on each role. If you're hiring for like a tech support guy, you want to be asking how experienced are you with Zapier and Makes and all that stuff. Very important. And you want to be looking for current commitment, again, school, girlfriend, looking after parent, all that stuff. And you want to be asking a follow-up question on how they're going to be fulfill their responsibility based on the current commitment that they have. Like, let's say someone have 5 dogs, 10 cats, they have to look after like 4 grandparents, right? How are you going to be functional in the workplace, like with all this responsibility, right? You do want to take everything with grains of salt here when it comes to interview, because, you really just have to take word for word on what they say, right? A lot of people can lie and will lie in an interview because they want to pass that interview phase. But that's why I come up with this unspoken thing to look for. So basically, the unspoken thing to look for is you want to be looking for people action rather than their word, okay? If someone say, I have a backup electricity and backup internet, but when you jump onto a Zoom call with them, they have clothes everywhere. In their background, they have a kid crawling and screaming. They're wearing a tank top. Like, obviously, like the backup electricity and backup internet doesn't really matter because they have such a messed up workspace. That's not going to work, right? At least for our company, right? You want to be looking for background noise and work setup and all that stuff, right? Unspoken word, right? Because action and, appearance speak way louder than words. Okay. And you want to be looking for pattern of language and behavior, right? If someone come in and they say, oh, my last boss did this and did that, they're always pointing blame at other people except for themselves. Like, my parent do this, my brother do this, my sister do this, my boss do this. Everyone is at fault except for themselves. Like, I don't want to be working with those people, right? And you want to be looking for communications and understanding, especially when it comes to remote work, especially when the role is requiring talking to people, like onboarding client and all that stuff. For example, like we have a bunch of Pakistani candidates, very, very talented. Like, they know how to do funnel, they know how to do Zapier, they know how to do all this tech stuff. But when I interviewed them and I asked them question like, how are you? The answer was like, I'm 21 years old. So they don't understand my question. And when I try to communicate with them, it's just not getting through. When I ask question, like I ask about Apple, they literally give me answer about orange. So those are the things that you want to look for, because, even though someone have skill sets of tech, if they don't understand what you want, it's just going to create a big problem in the future, and you don't want that. So these are just my pointer. Obviously there's a couple of things that's not going to be on here, but these are the key things that I look for when I come to interview people. We want to keep it very short. And I think the most important thing that I haven't mentioned is actually salary, right? You want to ask people like, what are you looking for in terms of price range, right? And ask them for a range rather than a fixed number, right? And it kind of get a commitment with how much they value themselves as well. I also look out for people who offer so cheap, and it shows sign of desperation. Like, if someone come in and say, oh, look, I really need a job, just pay me anything, that's kind of like a red flag for me. Like, I don't really gravitate toward that. Even though I can empathize with that, I don't gravitate toward that. And if someone say like, I have all of this skill, like I can do A to Z, 1 to 10, but I'm looking for like $300 a month, it's like something is wrong there. Like, something doesn't make sense there. Like, they doesn't value themselves. Anyway, you need to balance between that and people who just exaggerate too much, right? Who like asking for like $20,000 a month or something like that, like just crazy number. You want to really have a good balance, right? Anyway, when you interview people, make sure that you record the interview on Loom. Now, the reason why I use Loom, it have a full transcript. I can just copy and paste this transcript, and I would go to ChatGPT and I would put this prompt saying, I'm interview a candidate and I need a structure evaluation based on our conversation. Please analyze strengths, weakness, skills, and experience, recommendation for the role, and hiring decision, right? And I'm pretty much asking ChatGPT, if you in my shoe, would you hire this person? Why or why not? If yes, under what condition, right? And lastly, guys, I would ask ChatGPT to give me a short summary note of this interview so I can put on my HR sheet, right? And then I want to just copy my personal note and ChatGPT note and put it out there onto my my HR sheet here, just alongside the candidate applications and all that stuff. And then I would come back here. I would spend a good hour or 30 minutes to review every interview and make my decision to make an offer to the right candidate. Now, obviously, this very different on the role. When it comes to appointment setter and stuff, like I make a case study on the previous video, we don't even do this for the appointment setter. We literally just bring them all in Zoom and we make them role play on that Zoom call, and we would put them into a trial based on that role play, and we just make them fight each other because that's on the sales role, right? This is a different role. That's why I'm trying to cover as much as possible in the hiring process so you can cover all of the role. Again, like hiring salespeople in the sales department is very different from hiring operation people, fulfillment people on the, HR side, right? So this is it for the interview process. If you guys have any other questions, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one.